Hello, everyone. My name is Braden. This is Airless Quill 9, and in today's video, we are going to talk about Dretches. These are demons of frenzy and vulgarity, and they are the servants and victims of greater demons. Dretches embody petty instincts, chaotic impulses, and violent urges. They exist in unfathomable numbers in the depths of the abyss, where their reeking throngs fill vast demonic hordes. These are basically the minions, or rather the ordinary, foot soldiers of demon armies. And so they can be found in great amounts. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I have used Dretches once in my entire 10 or 11-year career as a dungeon master. And that's just because they are such a low challenge rating that I never really had the chance to use them in an appropriate encounter. But thankfully, in 2024, that issue has been fixed in a way. So let's go ahead and talk about the Dretch stat block in 2024, what changes have been made to it, and then talk about the addition of a new Swarm stat block for Dretches. So the Dretch is a small fiend, a demon, and it is chaotic evil, of course, which is typical of all demons. They are a challenge rating 1/4 creature, like I stated before. They have 50 experience points and a proficiency bonus of +2. They have an armor class of 11, an initiative of +0, 18 hit points, a speed of 20 feet. For their ability scores, they have a strength of 12, dexterity of 11, constitution of 12, intelligence of 5, wisdom of 8, and charisma of 3. Resistances, they have cold, fire, and lightning resistance. Immunities, they have immunity to poison damage as well as the poison condition. Senses, they have dark vision of 60 feet and a passive perception of 9. Languages, they know Abyssal, and they have telepathy of 60 feet, which says that it works only with creatures that understand Abyssal. And then in its action section, the Dretch has a rend attack, allowing it to make a melee attack roll. They +3 to hit, a reach of 5 feet, and on a hit, this deals 1d6 +1 slashing damage. Finally, we have Fetid Cloud. This is a once per day action. It has a Constitution saving throw attached to it, DC 11, and it affects each creature in a 10-foot emanation originating from the Dretch. On a failure, the target has the poison condition until the end of its next turn, and while poisoned, the creature can take either an action or a bonus action on its turn, not both, and it can't take reactions. So quite a potent once per day action if that does get off. So, with that being said, let's talk about the changes that have been made from the 2014 Dretch real quick. And as you can see here, there are not really that many to speak of. The first one that we can see here is in the languages section. They have added in this parentheses that the telepathy only works with creatures that understand Abyssal. This was this was present in 2014. I don't know why I underlined it. I guess I missed it because it wasn't present on D&D Beyond. But it is present in the 2014 Monster Manual that I'm looking at it. So completely ignore that. Funny. But in the action section, the previous Dretch did have a multi-attack that allowed it to make 2 attacks, one with its bite and one with its claws. Now, the bite and claws have been removed and replaced with this rend attack, and the multi-attack is also gone. So now this Dretch has the rend attack, which deals 1d6 +1 slashing damage. And in 2014, the Dretch would have made a multi-attack, 1 bite and 1 claw. The bite dealt 1d6, and the claw dealt 2d4. Now, the bonus to hit was incorrect, or not incorrect rather, because the Dretch has seen a small increase to its strength score, because it used to be 11. I did not notice that until just now. So that is a small change there. So the bonus has slightly gone up, and the damage has gone up since it's closest to the bite section. But that being said, this version of the Dretch is dealing slightly less damage than the 2014 version did. And I think that's okay because I believe in 2014, the 2014 Dretch was slightly overtuned with its damage that it dealt, so that is why it has been reduced significantly. And by significantly, I just mean the average damage has fallen by 3 points. But that is perfectly fine because this is not the only Dretch that we have. Rather, this is what we expect to encounter in very early levels. But in later levels, we now have the Swarm of Dretches stat block, which we can use. And I am quite happy that this is now present in the 2024 Monster Manual. So the Swarm of Dretches is a large swarm of small fiends, demons, of course, and they are chaotic evil. They have an armor class of 12, an initiative of +0, they have 45 hit points, a speed of 40 feet. For their ability scores, they have a strength of 12, a dexterity of 11, a constitution of 14, an intelligence of 5, a wisdom of 8, and a charisma of 3. For their ability, or rather for their resistances, they are resistant to bludgeoning, cold, fire, lightning, piercing, and slashing. And as everyone should be familiar with, all swarms are resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, so that is not new, but this is going to make the swarm a lot more beefier. In the immunity section, the swarm is immune to the poison condition as well as the charmed, frightened, grappled, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, restrained, and stunned conditions, since there are multiple creatures in a swarm. It is impossible to affect the entirety of the swarm. In the senses section, we have a dark vision of 60 feet and a passive perception of 9. Languages, the swarm knows Abyssal, and telepathy is 60 feet, which works only with creatures that understand Abyssal. And the Swarm of Dretches is a challenge rating 4, which means we can now use this as a minion stat block for higher levels, which is quite nice. Of course, since it is a challenge rating 4, it has 1100 experience points and a proficiency bonus of +2. In the traits section, the swarm has Fetid Aura. This is a Constitution saving throw, DC 12, affecting any creature that starts its turn in a 10-foot emanation originating from the swarm. On a failure, the target has the poison condition until the start of its next turn, and while poisoned, the target can take either an action or a bonus action on its turn, not both, and it can't take reactions. So we can see here that the Fetid Cloud that the normal Dretch had is now a aura that affects the area around the actual token itself. So that is quite nice. I quite like that change. And additionally, because this is a swarm, it also has the swarm trait, meaning that it can occupy another creature's space, and vice versa, and the swarm can move through any opening large enough for a small creature. In addition, the swarm can't regain hit points or gain temporary hit points, which is a nice addition there. In the actions section, the swarm has a multi-attack, allowing it to make 2 rend attacks. And we can see here, rend is a melee attack roll, they +4 to hit and a reach of 5 feet. On a hit, it deals 3d6 +2 slashing damage, or 3d4 +2 slashing damage if the swarm is bloodied. I quite like that the damage reduction for the swarm being at half hit points is a lot less than I would normally assume, because normally they just half the amount of dice in the attack for this portion of the attack, but instead what they have done here, if they just reduce the die type, which I quite like, because now it's going to feel like the Dretch is potent, but it's not as potent. And I just really like that we now have a swarm stat block for Dretches, because now I can use them in large quantities if I really want to. And that just makes running the game so much easier and so much nicer, because now this is a creature that I normally would not be able to use since they were such a low CR. I can now use them in droves, and it's going to feel like you're fighting an army now when you're facing off against a swarm of dretches, and that's just nice. I really like that. But yeah, that's everything that they've done to Dretches, and I'm quite happy with the changes here. Honestly, I just like the addition of the Dretch Swarm stat block. That by itself makes me very happy with the changes here, so overall, I'm quite pleased. But yeah, that's going to be it for this particular video, so thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please feel free to give the video a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. We're going through every creature in the 2024 Monster Manual, and we're releasing a new video every weekday, so keep an eye out for those videos. Until the next one, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Catch you later.